Good morning to all the speakers and participants from the Czech Republic, and good afternoon to speakers and participants from Taiwan. Welcome to the Czechia-Taiwan FinTech webinar. My name is Grace Huang, your MC for today's program. So this webinar is jointly organized by the FinTechSpace Taiwan and the Czech Economic and Cultural Office in Taipei, with the Financial Supervisory Commission, Taiwan, and the Ministry of Finance of the Czech Republic as co-organizers. So the webinar is organized to promote exchange between Taiwan and the Czech Republic. Taiwan's FinTechSpace and the Czech Economic and Cultural Office are jointly holding this international FinTech webinar, and we have invited competent authorities as well as the Czech FinTech Association, financial institutions, and also startups to take part. Today, we will be exchanging information on our respective FinTech capabilities, policies, ecosystems, and advisory resources. We seek to encourage outstanding startup teams and financial services firms to seize upon international trends, to strengthen substantive exchanges, and also to generate expanded business opportunities. So with that, a warm welcome to all of you. To kick off today, first of all, I'd like to welcome Dr. Tianmu Huang, Chairperson of the Financial Supervisory Commission of Taiwan, to give us the opening remarks. Dr. Huang, please.
Yes, Representative Romla, Deputy Finance Minister Georgiev, Director Ivancho, National Bank Mr. Vodoroshka, Head of Economic and Trade Section Mr. Horak, distinguished guests and participants. Good morning and good afternoon. It's my pleasure to take part in this bilateral FinTech webinar. First of all, I would like to offer my sincerest thanks to the Ministry of Finance and the Czech Economic and Cultural Office, Taipei, for your assistance to bring about this bilateral FinTech webinar. The Czech Republic has achieved rapid development in the fields of software and financial technologies in recent years. In the list of the 50 fastest growing companies in Central and Eastern Europe released by Deloitte in 2021, Czech companies dominated by 19 out of the 50 companies assessed. The keys to the Czech Republic's success are its deep pool of outstanding tech talent and its ongoing investment in research and development. And Taiwan has each too. Taiwan has a strong tech sector, abundant talent, and high-level developed ICT infrastructure. As such, it's in a highly advantageous position to develop digital financial services and engaging in FinTech innovation. The IMD World Competitiveness Yearbook 2021 ranks Taiwan as the world's 8th most competitive economy among the 64 economies assessed. In assigning Taiwan this high ranking, the IMD notes Taiwan's strengths in the areas of innovation, digitalization, welfare benefits, and social cohesion, and further notes that Taiwan's economy performed exceptionally well amidst the pandemic. In order to promote FinTech development, Taiwan in April 2018 launched a FinTech Sandbox system in accordance with the Financial Technology Development and Innovation Experimentation Act, thus becoming the first country in the world to run a sandbox system with codified law. Also, it launched the Financial Institution Business Trial Mechanism in 2019. The mechanism allows financial institutions to test out new technologies and methods on a pilot basis, provided that such technologies and methods do not violate laws or are not clearly regulated. In addition, Taiwan set up the FinTechSpace in September 2018 to provide innovative firms with physical facilities and resources they need during their early development stage. Even as the pandemic has raged over the past 2 years, the FAC has still worked to promote fintech innovation. In August 2020, it launched the Fintech Development Roadmap, which focuses on 8 main areas or aspects and was designed to facilitate fintech development in Taiwan over a 3-year period. We seek to achieve financial inclusion by forming a fintech-friendly ecosystem and spurring the application of fintech-based services. And later, Mr. Marcos Tai, Division Director of FC's Fintech Center, will speak in more details on these matters. Confucius stated long ago that the virtues do not stand alone. In the fields of the fintech, the Czech Republic and Taiwan are each strong in their own special ways. Although the pandemic has taken us apart from meeting face-to-face, I hope that we cherish the opportunity of this webinar to share information on our fintech development strategies and accomplishments, and that this event will spur further bilateral cooperation. My colleague is going to share with you on the topics of fintech development and the policies in Taiwan and the Marching Taiwan, market overview, and developing trend. We'll also hear about the experiences of Czech Ministry of Finance, Czech National Bank, Czech Fintech Association, and the various fintech firms. It's my sincere hope that by engaging in discussions like this, we can create a cooperative future. I would also like to bring about good news to my Czech friends. This year, FinTech Taipei exhibition will take place on October 28th and 29th. It's a major annual FinTech event and an important platform for exchange. The last 3 exhibitions have attracted a total attendance of over 80,000. This year's activities will include an international tech forum, conferences, and the innovative matchup meetings and exchanges. We warmly welcome team from the Czech Republic to take part in this event. Closing, I wish you all good health and enjoy a smooth and successful webinar today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Huang. And we look forward to our friends from the Czech Republic joining us in FinTech Taipei this year. And with that, I now like to welcome Mr. Patrick Lumlar, head of the Office of Czech Economic and Cultural Office in Taipei, to say a few words. Mr. Lumlar, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon. So let me first to address and greet the Chairperson Huang from the Financial Supervisory Commission Taiwan, Deputy Minister Georgiev from the Ministry of for Finance of the Czech Republic, all the distinguished guests, and the Czech and Taiwanese fintech companies. Today's webinar is organized as a project of the economic diplomacy of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Czech Republic with the support of the Ministry of Finance of the Czech Republic and also Financial Supervisory Commission on the Taiwanese side. I would like to welcome gladly all participants, and I would like to express gratitude for their resolve to share their expertise at today's webinar. Due to COVID, we can meet only online, but let's hope that Taiwanese borders will open as soon as possible so that our participants can also meet in person and can follow up on today's deliberations and discussions. I'm delighted to state that various Taiwanese institutions, including banking institutions, have declared their intent to open their representative offices in the Czech Republic. And I hope that this seminar will be instrumental in this as well. So wishing you every success. Thank you very much for organizing this event.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lumlar. And with that, I'd like to welcome Mr. Jiří Georgiev, Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Finance of the Czech Republic, to also say a few words.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So good morning and good afternoon, dear representatives of Taiwan authorities, dear ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to have the opportunity to say several introductory remarks on behalf of the Czech Republic's Ministry of Finance to this webinar examining the opportunities for strengthening our cooperation and investment in the sphere of digital finance. Let me also express my gratitude to the event's organizer, which brings together specialists from various sectors to discuss and present current developments, issues and opportunities in digital finance in the Czech Republic and Taiwan. I think that financial innovation can deliver better, quicker, more transparent and safer services for all consumers while still guaranteeing a high level of consumer protection in our countries. And the Czech Republic in this case is home to many innovative enterprises and creative startups. The financial innovation and its advantages are also a frequently discussed topic, not only on the national level in our case, but in the European Union environment as well. With many legislative proposals dealing with artificial intelligence or data governance, I can mention, for example, Artificial Intelligence Act, Data Governance Act, Data Act, or anticipated legislative proposals for a new open finance framework, which are debated now in the EU institutions. I'm also honored and delighted to welcome 5 Czech companies that will present their unique solutions in the second half of this event. We and our companies are particularly interested in working with Taiwanese enterprises. I'm sure that we will be able to bring together all of the important actors to address the challenges and opportunities in the field of digital finances. I wish you all the best and success and fruitful session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Deputy Minister. So with that, this brings us to the first part of the webinar today, in which we will focus on the state of financial development and implementation of policies, both in the Czech Republic and in Taiwan. The first talk today will cover legal framework for financial innovation, artificial intelligence, and data in the European Union. For this session, please join me to welcome Mr. Alex Ivancho, Director of the Department of Financial Markets 3, Ministry of Finance of the Czech Republic. And I'd like to remind everybody, throughout the process of the talk, if you have any questions for the speakers, please do make use of the chat box in the bottom right-hand corner to raise questions. And with that, I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Alex Ivancho.
Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
I would like to join those who were thankful for the organizers for this event. Thank you very much. My goal here today is to maybe introduce a little bit the digital environment that we are trying to introduce to our companies. There are some important developments lately. Let's say it was already mentioned that it's the field of artificial intelligence and also the data governance. So in order to facilitate cross-border offer of services or even installation of Taiwanese companies in Czech Republic, or even sharing of best practices that the Czech companies can share with their Taiwanese counterparts, it's nice to put in the picture what's going on. So lately, we have been especially working on a framework for artificial intelligence. That's the proposal for AI that has been put forward last year. In this, we have a special part that is dedicated to those companies in financial services that try to offer services for the creditworthiness or usage of the artificial intelligence in the creditworthiness assessment. Lately, it was added also insurance as a high-risk level. And for the data, let's just put forward the most important points. There will be several legislative proposals that are actually trying to put forward more data to be used by the companies. So fintech companies can look forward for better access to this data, and I hope it will be for them useful in order to propose new solutions for our customers, for their customers, either users or consumers. So let me start with the presentation if you are able to see it. So I already mentioned that I'm trying to introduce the legal framework because we already have a regulatory special jurisdictional issues in Czech Republic. It's mostly done on European level, and the same will apply also for the governance of the new technologies. So this is something that we would like to share with you. Let me start with approach that the European Union and also Czech Republic are having to the financial innovation. This is something that started already in the year 2018. We were first mapping on how actually do something very specific for our companies. So we were looking for the barriers for the entry to the market. And I think we came up with some measures that can be taken. I will not read all of them. I suppose, let's say the most of them are focusing on the way how to work with the companies, try to make some kind of bridge. And I think it was mentioned also by Dr. Huang that Taiwan was very forward-looking in this respect. And I think in the same year, Taiwan already adopted a specific law for the sandboxes, regulatory sandboxes. So this is the same scope of ideas, and on European level, it's more concerned with the cooperation. It might be of interest to you that on Friday, there was announcement from Commission about launch of digital finance platform. So now there is a mean how to cooperate between dedicated financial hubs or regulatory sandboxes within Europe. So that's one of the results of this FinTech action plan that was established in 2018. The digital finance strategy was already more concrete. We have seen some of the legislative acts that have been put forward. You might have heard about MiCA, DORA. These acronyms would go most of the treatment of digital assets and security, let's say, resilience of financial services. Third one would be pilot that actually tries to establish a DLT regulatory sandbox on the European level for the introduction of the financial services based on the distributed ledger technology. Digital platform that I mentioned that was launched on Fridays is also one of the results of the digital finance strategy. And the one that we will be looking forward is the open finance framework that might go out on November. So why it is important to look on European legislation? It's that actually this legislation is meant to be horizontal and concerns all the digital services. So when we are talking about AI Act, it concerns all the services that can be provided while using artificial intelligence, not only financial services, but there are specific topics that concern financial services. So as I mentioned, it was launched last year. There is a definition that divides AI usage in 3 different categories. The first of them is that are prohibited, and the others, a big group that is concerning also financial services, is high-risk AI systems. Between them, as I have told you, it's already creditworthiness and credit scoring, and lately insurance was added to it. We will have the presentation available, so I'll just go quickly through the definitions. We were trying to be close with definitions to the OECD definition. Again, the intent is to have a global, compliant or interoperable definitions that can be later used worldwide. For high-risk AI systems, there's a set of specific rules. The most important is the one requiring a kind of certification or record of all the AI steps that will be happening. So it's a little bit more burdensome for small companies, and that's also why the AI Act envisaged a sandbox, specific sandbox for the SMEs. It might not be ready yet for approval. Let's say the discussion is still going on. So I just would encourage you to have a look on this. You may expect some results within the next year, but let's say the most important part, which is the scope, will be discussed this year. What I have here, it's a lot of supporting documents or research that have been done in AI before. So if you are looking into some more specific definitions, it's in these specific documents. So again, if you want to delve a little bit more into it, please feel welcome and use my presentation. So I already mentioned that one of the new things that was developed within the last 2 years, it's a group of legislation that was introduced to govern digital markets within Europe. It depends mostly on the point of view that you are taking. It's not only meant for the distribution of the data from the private companies, it's also focusing for the data that are coming from the government. So you have a different set of rules. Again, if you would like to introduce your services in the market, you might be willing to know what kind of restrictions or, let's say, facilitations you can have. What is interesting is in the future you might be looking in a new set of data that you can use, and this is something that we will try to provide for our market. I will not go into the details. Again, I don't know the time that we have. I'll just mention the most important one for us in this moment. That's the Data Act, that the last one. It was launched on February this year. Already in a recital, you have a phrase that is actually defining the way how the new sector-specific regulation will be treated. So again, it will be based on this Data Act, which actually tries to set rules for the sharing of the data from the private companies. The data are non-personal, so we can have a look on what will be helpful. For example, as a specific example, you can look on the transfer of data. If you are a company asking for a loan and your bank is not offering you the services that you would like, the rate that would be acceptable for you, you can look for proposals from other companies. But in order to assess your creditworthiness, these companies might need your data. So you will be able to transfer the data needed for this credit scoring to the others based on the data. That's the idea. Let's see what will happen later on with the open finance proposal. So I already mentioned this. What is related to open finance framework is the data space. Data space idea is how to govern the data within Europe. The idea is also to include a specific space dedicated to the financial services. This is also in the development, so we will see what kind of data and how we will going to share them later on. So now let's come back to Czech Republic. We have our national AI strategy adopted in 2019. We are focusing on specific plans how to help Czech companies support the research. And you will hear from companies that are presenting today during this workshop or the seminar at the end how they are using artificial intelligence. Hopefully in the financial services, there is a lot of space for this new technology, and I'm sure that you will find their ideas interesting. This is a map of fintech companies in Czech Republic. It's not something that would be new to you. Probably the specific groups of ideas are international. So I'm not going to go into them. The important part is that you can actually find in whatever financial sector or whatever financial services you are looking for, there are Czech companies already offering their ideas. From the Ministry of Finance, I can just invite you to write us whenever you will have any issue in accessing Czech market. Or if you would like to get connected to some of the Czech companies, please also, there are our colleagues in Taiwan who will be happy to identify a partner that might be interesting for you. If you decide to come to Czech Republic, of course, there is some licensing requirements, and that should be addressed to the Czech National Banks. But in general, we are all happy to welcome Taiwanese companies. I hope I didn't cross my time limit. So if there are no questions, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ivancho. So we do have a Q&A session after the next two speeches. So for the participants, if you have any questions, please do make use of the chat box, and we'll come to the Q&A in a little bit. And with that, let's move on to the next talk to talk about Czech National Bank and financial innovation. So for this session, we're very happy to have as the speaker, Mr. Michal Vodrašíka, Director of the Financial Market Regulation, Division 3 at the Czech National Bank. So Mr. Vodrašíka, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and good morning to my colleagues here in the Czech Republic. Thank you for the invitation. I decided not to complicate things with any slides, so I will just speak without them. I would like first to talk a little bit about the quite a few roles that the Czech National Bank has and what it does for the Czech financial market, and then address the topic of what we do for innovation in these different roles. So the Czech National Bank is not just the central bank of the Czech Republic, it's also the integrated supervisor for the whole financial market, and also is in charge of financial stability and bank resolution. So as a central bank, it also operates the payment system. As the supervisor, in the supervision of financial market, the scope is not just prudential and conduct supervision, but also some parts of consumer protection legislation. And we are also, together with the financial intelligence unit, in charge of supervising AML, anti-money laundering, and CFT, counter financing of terrorism rules. So really pretty much any rule that applies to, let's say, a bank or a non-bank payment service provider is supervised by us. Also, as the supervisor, we have a role as a regulator. So we are in charge of developing or writing and then explaining, implementing regulation where the laws or the European laws charge us to do that. On the European, we do this not only on national level, but we do it also on European level as a part of so-called European supervisory authorities. So to sum it up, we're a sort of one-stop shop for financial market participants, which makes things a little bit easier if you want to provide, let's say, a trend in Asia is these super applications that provide you with all kinds of financial products. So in some countries you'd have to talk to 2 or 3 different regulators. In Czech Republic, it's just the Czech National Bank. The only thing that the CNB is not providing is so-called alternative or out-of-court dispute resolution. This is it used to be housed in the central bank, but it was later moved and is now part of the finance ministry. But that does not really concern fintech companies. It's more a consumer-facing service that the government provides. So now, if I move to second part and the crucial part of my short talk about financial innovation, we actually innovate in a few of the roles I was talking about. Probably the least visible, but I would argue the most important, is the innovation that we do as central bank and operator of the payment system, because this is, as you know, the infrastructure, the backbone on which the payments are moving, and without improving it, you can hardly provide a sort of digital 21st century experience that citizens expect from banks and other providers. So. An interesting fact might be that in Czech Republic, all payments, including retail payments, are actually processed by the payment system run by the CNB. We don't have automatic clearing house. So one of the, or maybe the most important innovation in the last couple of years was that we actually proposed to the banks to add an instant payment functionality in the system we are running in 2017. the banks agreed that indeed time has come to make the payments instant. So from late 2018, you can pay instantly in Czech crowns by now, basically between all the banks that we have in the Czech Republic. We are now working with the banks also to add a mobile proxy database to the system. So soon, later this year, you won't have to type in a account number. You will just use a cell phone number, and that will be enough for routing the payments. And historically, we implemented things like electronic payment account switching between the banks. So if you want to move your bank account from one bank to the other, it used to be a paper-based process. Now it's all done through the system, through safe messaging that we provide to the banks. And maybe if I move a little bit to current issues that might be a topic in Taiwan as well. We also cooperate with our colleagues in other European central banks, including the ECB, the European Central Bank, on exploring DLT, distributed ledger technologies. So we were taking part in a project that is called Eurochain, that is now been finished, but explored the use of DLT in payments. And we are also closely following the developments in policy and technology when it comes to central bank digital currencies. You might know that ECB has decided to explore digital euro. So of course, being next to Eurozone, and Eurozone being our biggest trade partner, this is a very crucial development for us. Now, if I move to the second role I mentioned, the supervision of financial market, one thing that we've been offering for decades by now is a Q&A process for any market participant or any company that would like to offer financial services in the Czech Republic. Basically, it's a sort of ask us anything as long as it's connected to financial regulation and you provide a legal analysis and a solution to the problem that you want us to comment on. And this process works, I think, fine, and not all the authorities in EU have something like that, but it's been a little bit slow for the 21st century. So we aim to reply within 30 days. If it's something complicated, it may take a little longer. So we decided in late 2019 to provide something more quick, more digital, more agile, and we operate a FinTech point of contact, where again you can ask us anything when it comes to regulation, but you don't have to provide your own legal analysis. The condition is that it has to be connected with innovations. It has to be an innovative, sort of question, so to say. It's not open to everybody, and there we aim, and we I think mostly succeed. We aim to reply within 1 or 2 working days. So we try to really be able to communicate quickly with the fintechs to provide them the answers they're seeking as soon as possible. And also within the FinTech contact point, we started organizing biannual, so roughly every 6 months, meetings with the local FinTech community on the topics of their interest. So these meetings are usually or are always chaired by the vice governor and then the respective experts from the central bank and also from the Ministry of Finance. Last meeting that we had was on crypto assets and tokenization of financial market instruments. So also sort of hot topic, let's say, on the financial market. Now, last point that I'd like to mention, where we also that also touches down on innovation, is our role as a regulator, as a developer and explainer of secondary regulation and legislation. So there, on a national level, there is not much to talk about, but on a European level, we participate on all the European supervisory authorities' work that relates to fintech. It's mostly market monitoring, but also some assessment whether the legislation as it exists is really ready or for 21st century, or if there are some unintended blocks that prevent fintechs from offering their services. And also we participate in European Forum of Financial Facilitators. So this is, this is for authorities that run innovation hubs or regulatory sandboxes. A big topic in EU now is how to test innovative financial products cross-border. So there will be some framework now for cross-border testing. And if in the future we decide to have a regulatory sandbox as well, as might be the case, we will be also interested in these cross-border European aspects of testing. So with that, I thank you for the attention, and I'm ready for any questions. If you're interested, all of this is described on our website, cnb.cz. It has an English version, so you can find more details there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Vodrašík. So we will have a joint Q&A session after the next talk. So for the participants, if you have any questions, please do make use of the chat box. And with that, after we have heard two speakers share with us the experience from the Czech Republic, we will now shift gear to focus on fintech development and policies in Taiwan. For this session, I'd like to welcome Mr. Marcus Tsai, Division Director of Fintech Center, Financial Supervisory Commission, Taiwan. Mr. Tsai, over to you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, then I will share my screen. Okay. Okay. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Marcus Tsai, Division Director of Fintech Center of the FSC. It's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to share with you Taiwan's fintech development and policies today. My presentation today will have four parts. First is the overview of Taiwan fintech development. In the second part, I will talk about FSC's fintech policy approaches. And the third part is a brief introduction of our fintech development roadmap. The last part is a wrap-up of the presentation. Okay, first I would like to give you an overview of Taiwan's fintech development. On the left-hand side of the slide, you can see the statistics and rankings showing Taiwan's innovation potential and capabilities. Overall, we have four strengths in developing fintech, which are advanced science and technology, well-established infrastructure in information and communication technology, inclusive financial system, and excellent innovation capability. But at the same time, we also face challenges such as rigorous financial regulations and insufficient resources and visibilities for staffs. Therefore, the FSC has devoted its effort to creating a more flexible regulatory environment and building a friendly fintech ecosystem. I will talk more about that in the second and third part of my presentation. As you can see in the slide, financial institutions' investment in fintech continued to grow in the past few years and reached a record high in 2021. The total investment amount was $656 million in 2020 and is estimated to grow to $846 million in 2021. Main investment areas include cybersecurity, payment, big data, robo-advisor, and artificial intelligence. In addition, a total of 984 fintech patent applications were filed in 2020 and 817 were approved. The average of fintech patent approval per institution was 2.71 in 2020, up from 2.01 approvals per institution in 2019. This is a quick glance of Taiwan's fintech market. In terms of mobile payment, we have 29 electronic payment institutions, including banks, and total transaction value reached $10.8 billion in 2021. Currently, 37 banks offer digital account, including 3 newly established internet-only banks, and 10.47 million digital account accounts have been opened. 15 financial institutions provide automated investment advisor services, while 8 property insurers provide usage-based insurance, and 9 life insurers provide health management insurance. We also have multiple blockchain use cases in financial services, such as insurance conservation and claims alliance chain, and financial blockchain confirmation service. In the second part of my presentation, I would like to briefly introduce the FSC's FinTech policy approaches. As you can see in the center of the slide, we have 3 core principles: responsible innovation, technology neutrality, enabling and friendly environment. Based on these 3 core principles, we have introduced a series of measures for startups and financial institutions, as well as policies that help create a vibrant ecosystem and strengthen cross-border cooperation. Next, I'm going to talk about the dual mechanism of FinTech regulatory sandbox and the business trial in Taiwan. The purpose of Sandbox is to establish a safe testing environment for FinTech and at the same time maintain financial stability and protect consumer rights. The Sandbox has been deployed since April 2018, and it is the first legislative sandbox mechanism worldwide. During the sandbox experiment period, the FSC or other authorities may exempt or adjust the regulations to provide a suitable legal environment for the innovative experiment. As of March 2022, 15 sandbox applications were received and 9 cases were approved. The FSC also established the business trial in 2019 to help financial institutions test innovative financial product or service in the market. Compared to Sandbox, business trial has a more streamlined review and approval process and requires fewer preparation in advance. But at the same time, business trial mechanism does not allow the FSC to grant exemption on related financial laws and regulations. As of March 2022, 43 business trial applications were received and 34 cases were approved. In the next 2 slides, I will talk about the FinTech development roadmap. To speed up FinTech innovation, the FSC published the FinTech development roadmap on August 27, 2020 as implementation directive for the development of FinTech in the next 3 years. The vision of the roadmap is to form a friendly ecosystem which facilitates the provision of innovative FinTech services or business models for better efficiency, accessibility, usability, and quality. We also adopt 3 implementation principles for the roadmap, which are functional and behavioral supervision, technology neutrality, innovation-friendly approach. The roadmap contains 8 dimensions and 60 measures and will be promoted in stages in 3 years with the aim to build a cloud ecosystem and promote data sharing. The 8 dimensions including one-stop communication platform, FinTechSpace ecosystem, SupTech RegTech development, international networking, data sharing, regulatory adjustment, capacity building, and digital infrastructure. As you can see, there are many key measures under each dimension. Due to time restriction, I will not talk in detail about the 8 dimensions and these key measures. But you can find the English version of the roadmap if you would like to know more about it. Okay, and I would like to quickly wrap up my presentation. The FSC has adopted a series of fintech-related policies, and the two most important key points are promoting responsible innovation and creating dedicated governmental assistance to foster innovation. We also launched the FinTech Development Roadmap, which is the guiding document for us for the next 2 years. The FSC will continue to enhance collaboration with other government agencies and the regulators around the world to promote FinTech development. That concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much once again to Mr. Marcus Tsai of the Financial Supervisory Commission, Taiwan, for giving us an overview of fintech development and also policies. And ladies and gentlemen, we are a little bit behind schedule, but let's spend a couple of minutes on the Q&A session. So far we have one question for Mr. Michal Vodrashika. And the question is, in the journey of CNB becoming innovative, does CNB consider implementing cloud service? If implemented to strengthen data protection?
Thank you for the question. It's not totally clear for me if it aims at us as the central bank. We have not really moved much into the cloud, but of course that's something that might and probably will happen in the future. When it comes for financial market participants, we have our expectations or a document outlining our expectations for cloud outsourcing from 2016, and there is also another document on the European level for bank and payment services providers, and I think there will be others also for the insurance, outlining the supervisory expectations for usage of cloud. So those are available. I can provide the links later. And when it comes to cyber security or cyber resilience, more precisely, this is indeed a very important topic, especially at the moment due to current geopolitical circumstances. And cyber resilience has been an issue for us, or important issue for last couple of years. And Mr. Ivancho mentioned a new European regulation called DORA, Digital Operational Resilience Act, that will actually bring or codify quite strict rules for cyber resilience, including the use of penetration or sophisticated penetration testing for the most important financial market participants. So that's for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Vodrashika. And I see that Mr. Ivancho has raised his hand. Please.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor again. I just wanted to thank also Mr. Marcus Tsai for his participation last year in the cyberspace conference in Brno. We have been discussing the approaches to the artificial intelligence regulation in the financial services. So I just wanted to mention that thank you very much, first of all. And second, also the research cooperation is very important because we can then look on the possible regulation before it's adopted. So this way the regulatory frameworks can get closer even before they are articulated on the legislative level. So this is really helpful, and thank you for accepting our invitation at that time, and I hope there will be more future cooperation in this field too. Thank you very much, and thank you also for the invitation for the October. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ivancho. And with that, in the interest of time, we will move on to part 2 of the content for today. So for part 2, we will be focusing on fintech ecosystem and advisory resources. So for the first talk of part 2, we'll be focusing on Marching Taiwan, market overview and developing trend. And for this session, we are very happy to have Ms. Anna Sung, Managing Director of FinTechSpace, and also Ms. Ting Wu, International Partnership Manager of FinTechSpace. So let me now give the floor to Ms. Song. And for those of you that may have questions, please use the chat box in the bottom right-hand corner, and we'll be able to take your questions during the Q&A. So Ms. Song, over to you.
Thanks. Hello, everyone. I'm Anna, the Managing Director of the FinTechSpace. First of all, thank you all for attending today's webinar. As you might have the aware of, Taiwan's tech energy is well known in the worldwide. With regard to the development of the technology and the policies open, it has been witnessing that local financial institutions have been invested in digital finance and to earn or strengthen their competitive advantage. Furthermore, under the development of the challenger bankers join the market and innovative utilizations by the third service parties, financial institutions' need of digitalizations are more urgent and then more. This certainly leads more to our mission to encourage and assist financial industry to implement this latest technologies or solutions and become more delighted. Later, Ting, our international partnership manager, she's our great one. We'll give them the overview of the Taiwan financial market and the potential entry opportunity. If you really have feel is really interested, and feel free to contact FinTechSpace. We are here to assist you to landing in Taiwan. Thank you. Now,
thank you.
Ting, please.
Okay, thank you. Let me change my slide. Okay, can you see my slide right now? Okay. So I'm Ting. I'm the International Partnership Manager of the FinTechSpace. So it's our pleasure to share the Taiwan's market overview and also what is the potential entry market opportunities for the Czech startups. So it is a quick overview of the financial industry in Taiwan. So in general, in geography, Taiwan is like a half of Czech Republic, but in terms of the populations, we are like twice populations than Czech, so it's quite an intense area. But in this kind of circumstances, we already have like 38 domestic banks, including 2 internet-only banks, which are licensed in 2020 and 2021. Speaking of the branches and ATM is like a lot in Taiwan. So you can say that Taiwan's financial industry is quite mature in Taiwan. And speaking of the credit card issue, during the past year in 2021, we already issued like 52 million card in Taiwan, and the transaction in the past year is over 3 trillion. And so I think for the Taiwan, we didn't really affected by the COVID, and actually we are like our annual growth rate is near 3%. So in Taiwan's financial industry, we are having a great result in terms of the last year. In the insurance corporations, we have 20 non-life insurance and 22 life insurance corp. In Taiwan, we are actually the #1 in the whole world that our people's insurance are getting a lot. So insurance is definitely another opportunities for Taiwan for companies to participate in. We also have 5 electronic payment institutions and also 4 electronic store value cards. And I would like to share a key trend of Taiwan financial institutions. So that this one is actually summarized by a Deloitte paper in 2021. It is referring by the 8 key trend bank of 2030. Deloitte Taiwan has interviewed 10 Taiwan banks, which is kind of like 1/3 of the Taiwan banks, and to understand their point of view on fintech and digital technology and how is it going in the future trend. And we can see that the red dot, it is the embracing and becoming digital. It is already well developed, and I think it will be like the result of the policies encouragement and also the industries they're investing in digital. But I would like to highlight about the blue dot and the green dot. The blue dot is actually the implementing part, which is the continue to advance. So in Taiwan, our financial industry are actually looking for less sci-fi, strengthen data integration and analytics, and also to implement digital and emerging technologies. In the green dot is actually the fast developing, which means if the banks are already achieved the red and the blue dots, and how they can become being more outstanding is by achieving the green dot, which is like leveraging platform and monetize data, enterprise agilities, and orchestrating across the ecosystem. And of course, the future of the work model is definitely need to be changed or adjust, but it will be like a more like a long-term goal for the financial institutions. Okay. And this is data that combined by the FSC's 2021 report and also the International Trade Administration's 2020. And in this chart that we can see that in Taiwan, according to the 2020 year, that the financial institutions are actually working with the either is TSP or their outsourcing companies. They are more like the cybersecurity and payment, big data, wealth management, RegTech, ML, KYC, and the blockchain. So in these different categories, this is the majority of fintech collaborations in 2020. And I would like to highlight about the cybersecurity part is that in the cybersecurity information sharing and the cyber attack reporting, incident simulation, and incident assistance. So this is the cybersecurity that Taiwan's from the government, from the regulators, are more taking the cybersecurity more seriously, and that results to the industry become to like acting along with the policies. The payment is actually from the market opportunity is definitely the user authentication, data protection. I would like to highlight about the payment is that Taiwan is actually extremely well-developed information technology infrastructure. So how does the company to enter in this market is definitely something the company can think about. And about the RegTech and AML, well, we are definitely see the AML is very important. So for the market opportunity, it's definitely the risk analysis tools and also the due diligence task. And I will show you later about another slide, and that will be taking the AML more seriously recently. And the lastly is the blockchain. So Taiwan actually be engaged in the blockchain technology like since a while. We already participate in different international alliances such as like R3, EEA, and Forum and Hyperledger. But in Taiwan, our FIs is more focused on how to use the blockchain technologies to use in the information flow function and not the currency flow. So that is definitely some difference between Taiwan and other countries. Okay. So this is the market opportunity for the market. So I just summarize that in 3 big topics. And the first of all, definitely the recent hot topics, the COVID. But as we have just mentioned, that Taiwan is not really affected negatively by the COVID, and actually we are like growing positively. And in these situations, the buy now pay later solutions and also how to make the insurance making the insurance more better is definitely something that we are looking for, or the market looking for. The second one is the migrant worker remittance. So in this section, like it is particularly in Taiwan society because we have one out of the 35 populations are migrant workers. So they tend to send their salaries or earn the money to go back to their hometown. So in this kind of remittance, the cross-border transaction, the ID identification and verification is definitely something that we are seeing the market is needed some kind of solutions or the innovation. The last but not the least is the inclusive financing. So it is just the new news in the past month. So in Taiwan, we just announced industry code of conduct for fair treatment of elderly customers in the banking industry, and which the code is definitely mentioned the KYC and risk management is definitely something the banks is needed to getting strengthened or the improvement. So that is the three main topics that for the company want to enter the Taiwan's market. And I would like to share a few points of what FinTechSpace can provide if you are interested in Taiwan. So FinTechSpace is actually the Taiwan FinTech Hub. We are instructed by the FSC and co-founded by the Private Wing Taiwan Financial Service Roundtable. We play several roles in the FinTech industry, but most importantly is the accelerator and the industry consultant. We are launched in 2018, and we are now having over 100 FinTech entrepreneurship in our network. So this is the 5 key offering that we offer. So the first of all is definitely the supervisory resources, since considering it is the most important part in the FinTech area. We are partnered with the FSC to build the regulatory clinic. We are also partnered with the Baker McKenzie to have a regular checkup for our startups. We do also provide a physical place, which definitely have different packages for different scales, companies or startups. And the third one is the accelerators. We provide business mentoring, and also the most important is the matchmaking. The fourth one is the collaborations, which we want to have. The mechanism is to help tech companies to co-work with the corporate or the financial institutions. And the last is for the foreign companies that we do have the soft landing program, which is we provide some more resources for the companies who want to land in Taiwan, but still in early stage. So this is the regulatory resources, which I will share the slide because I think we do have only 10 minutes for today. So the regulatory resources is the most important resources that FinTechSpace can provide to the foreign companies. And if you want to apply for the regulatory sandbox, we do also have the mentor program to help you to apply for it. The matchmaking, as we earlier mentioned, the FinTech Taipei is going to host in this October 28 to 29, which is definitely the greatest Taiwan annual FinTech event. And I would definitely love to invite all of you to join the event. But a part of that, we do also host some of the closed-door one-on-one mentoring or matchmaking event, and some of them will be like talent matchmaking. So if you are looking for a balance, if you are looking for a business, or you are looking for your future partners, then you can all like come to us, and we will like help you. And this is our beautiful pictures and beautiful space that we have. And the most important part is that it is available for company registration for the foreign companies. So if you are looking for these resources, you can come to us. Okay. And this soft landing program is what we are collaborate with our MOU signed global partners. And so for the companies recommended by these partners, they can have a complimentary residencies in 3 months, and all of these are free to use, and you can apply any resources that we are hosting during your residency. So if you want to know more about it, we can make appointment like another time, and we can share more details information to you. This is a digital sandbox, but it is a more complicated program, but After all, it is a platform for companies to apply the APIs, and we already have like 25 API providers, more than 40 APIs in 8 topics. So you are looking for this kind of APIs or data, then we can set up another meetings after them. So this will be our presentation, and you can follow us on here, but you are also feel free to drop us a message or emails, then we will contact you shortly. Thank you, and looking forward to see you in Taiwan.
Thank you once again to Ms. Song and also Ms. Wu for the comprehensive introduction. And after learning about the fintech environment in Taiwan, we will now move on to talk about the Czech fintech environment. So for the next session, please join me to welcome Mr. Milosław Lukeshi from the Czech Fintech Association.
Good afternoon to Taiwan, and good morning still to Czech Republic. It's my great honor to follow such a fantastic presentation. And in fact, I'll follow a similar pattern in terms of explaining how we can help you with establishing your presence in the Czech Republic. I will not have many slides. In fact, I will have just one, so I hope to make up for the time gap that we have. But before I jump to the slide, which will explain how we can help you getting connected in the Czech Republic, I will first summarize where we are in terms of the Czech financial services sector, or if you wish, Czech banking and insurance. And I would basically thank my colleagues from Minister of Finance and Czech National Bank for summarizing what we have in terms of legislation, etc. What I'd like to focus on is more like the business side of things. And we do not have to be shy, because Czech financial sector is actually one of the best worldwide when it comes to stability, but also innovation. We have disproportionate adoption of new financial services and technologies. You can think of, for example, penetration of mobile payments, online payments. You can think of bank ID. All this is actually happening in the Czech Republic, and we are ranking among the top in the world, in fact. I myself actually come from MasterCard. I spent 9 years as an executive, both in Prague, Vienna, and also New York headquarters. And Czech Republic has been, established as one of the testing grounds for new innovation. And before that, I actually did spend like 7 years in McKinsey, and again, I can benchmark how Czech banks are sort of leading the crowd when it comes to introducing things like mobile banking and other innovation. So Czech financial sector really belongs among the best ones in the world. Maybe we're not like super vocal about it, that's why I have to be to take this role, but certainly we have a good ground and context for the fintechs being born, because not only obviously we have the customer side, but there is plentiful of talents that are developing new solutions. And that's probably the second point I'd like to raise, which is how the fintechs are helping development of financial services. And again, very often fintechs are the source of innovation and of new disruptive financial services. But also we have tended to export it worldwide. One example I would mention is Home Credit, which is basically the consumer finance company. At its peak, it had 110,000 employees over the world, very strong presence also in Southeast Asia still. And this is a company, again, that created a lot of talent with, Asia kind of mindset and cultural affiliation that can help developing fintechs further. So that's just one example out of a few that I can mention. Maybe just last one is Twisto. That's a buy now pay later company that was established in Prague, expanded to Poland, and Zip, the Australian buy now pay later company, acquired it recently for about $100 million, over $100 million, to actually drive the European expansion out of Prague, if you wish. So fintechs are actually helping this development. And last but not least, they are, let's say, the nest for the next big things, next big kind of innovations, and that is driven by the talent that we have here, that is driven by the environment and inspiration that is created by the banks and insurance companies that are, proactively facilitating the development. But it is also driven by people coming, returning back from places like Asia, places like America, coming back to Central Europe, basically to start up their businesses and then again expand globally. This is not happening just in FinTech, but it is also happening big time in other areas. Alex Ivancho already mentioned artificial intelligence. So people say that Prague is or may become a powerhouse in artificial intelligence, and obviously this has huge implication for FinTech because that's basically the cornerstone technology for the future disruptions in FinTech. We are actually powerhouse also in cybersecurity. You may know companies like Avast, that is global #1 or becoming global #1 in cybersecurity, or Asset that has been born in neighboring Slovakia. And we can kind of go on also with e-commerce examples and others that are again leading the crowd and being born in the Czech Republic. Being born means that obviously we are like a small country, so by definition the fintechs here are thinking at least Europe-wide, but also globally. So again, I just wanted to compliment my colleagues to tell you a little bit more about the Czech fintech and adjacent sectors where we are and where we are aspiring. Now, more specifically, I would like to tell you what we are doing as a FinTech association. I will use this one little slide just to help you guide and navigate through the thinking and words. It's not coming up, but I will start.
It works.
It works? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
In principle, what we have is the kind of key point of contact and reference that you can get in the Czech Republic. So we are connecting tens of fintechs. Currently, we are actually expanding the member base. We aspire to have about 50 members. Today, we are at 35 plus. So pretty much we are connecting in our member base fintechs, of course, but also supportive companies like law firms, consulting companies, etc. And so the easiest way to approach them is through us. I'm happy to anytime kind of give you guidance on where to get. You'll actually hear later today from many of our members, and you can get kind of a better picture of what we are doing. So we are at the point of contact and reference. More practically, just like my dear colleagues in Taiwan, what we are doing is to create like a supportive system or program of nurturing fintechs. So we have the financial hub that is just being established. This is in fact shared with Slovakia, and it has an aspiration to cover the whole Central Europe and beyond. And in this fintech hub, fintechs will get support when it comes to network, mentoring. That's an important piece that we can provide, and also specific kind of resources and technologies they can access to, like payments in a box. We can obviously facilitate discussion with the regulators, etc., etc. Which leads me to the second point. We are partners to regulators. We would like to co-shape the regulation. Yes, a lot of the agenda is actually driven by Europe, but you can see, in examples of Latvia, Estonia, very dynamic countries in Europe when it comes to introducing concepts like e-governments, for example, that we can take the advantage of a smaller country and nurture the environment so that big things can start from small scale, fail fast, and then develop into bigger things, with proper regulatory frameworks. The third one is networking. among experts and talents, and of course, the fintech companies. We have regular events that are not only networking, but also focus on, specific contents and knowledge. And last but not least, and this is very relevant today, we are actually the bridge to international partners. So we're happy to provide information sources. We are in fact preparing like English version of the fintech roadmap, overview of all the fintechs, of the technologies, etc., that we will distribute over the next coming weeks and months. So these are the cornerstone of our activities. In a nutshell, we do support innovation, but also co-shared regulation. We do actively develop the financial ecosystem and do support talents and competences. And last but not least, we are the contact point. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me, but also to my team. Happy to get you connected. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lukeshi, for sharing. And with that, we will move on to the next part. In the interest of time, we won't have time for a Q&A. However, if you do have questions for the speakers of part 2, please leave them in the chat box and we will relay the questions to the speakers. And moving on to part 3, we will hear firsthand experience of startups, both in Taiwan and also in the Czech Republic. So we'll first hear from teams from Taiwan. Each team will have about 7 minutes to present, and I will remind you when you have 1 minute remaining. So my apologies for interrupting. This is to keep track of the time. So for the first team from Taiwan, I'd like to welcome Mr. Bruce Chen, who is CEO and founder of INSTO. So Bruce, over to you.
Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure to talk to you online. So INSTO is essentially a cash flow app, an API. So we provide an app for anyone to use that you can install on your phone and start taking credit card payments right directly on your phone by tapping the cards. And we started building this since 2019 with MasterCard and Visa. But the company was actually founded back in 2013 in Kansas City in the US. But we built a team in Taiwan and launched our first commercial service in Taiwan also. And we also have our API that anyone can use basically for free. Just sign up as our merchant, and then you can start embedding the API, your payment collecting API, into your website or application, any app, free of charge. So we have a kind of like a SaaS model with a very good, network effect. The user, in average, each seller can bring in certain buyers for us, and some of the buyers will become sellers too. So we are a self-growing network. And in Taiwan, we partner with Fubon, Taipei Fubon Bank. It's one of the largest commercial bank in Taiwan, owned by the largest banking group called Fubon in Taiwan. And right now, we are expanding internationally after we launched in Taiwan. So we're working with multiple acquirers to offer the service worldwide. And our business model is very simple. We take a cut in every transaction, whether it's credit card payment or consumer financing, different percentage. And also, we work with consumer lending companies to purchase account receivable from our sellers, and so we can provide financing. And we also have very robust, credit fraud prevention system. we have very robust fraud prevention system, and this can prevent fraud very effectively. So this is just a fintech company that was started in Taiwan and ready to scale internationally. And I would love to maybe work with Czech, because I believe Czech is a member of the EU, and they share the same regulations. So once we can get a license to operate in Czech, I'm sure we can scale to the rest of the EU. Sorry, my deck opens in a browser, so the viewing is not as smooth as the application. So since we launched, we have been growing very exponentially, almost 250% per year. And we have totally raised 4.3 million so far. And right now in the process of closing our Series A, 5 million Series A. So Taiwan's MIH, the Foxconn initiative of electronic vehicle platform, has also invited INSTO to participate as a part of their member companies. So that's what we are doing. And here is the QR code of my line contact. If you need to contact me or have any questions, you're welcome to scan the QR code so you can reach me directly.
Thank you very much, Bruce, for that introduction. And we will now hear from Kdan Mobile Software Growth Manager, Ms. Rongchen Lee.
Hi, let me quickly share my screen. So thanks for the invitation from FinTechSpace. Warm greetings to FS and also our distinguished guests from Czechia, Czech Republic. I am Rongchen Lee. You can call me JC. It's my honor to present you our product, DocuSign. So I'm the growth manager in Kdan Mobile at the moment, currently responsible for European market entry. And we start using DocuSign, our e-signature solution focused on B2B market. So today I will quickly walk you through on our company, Kdan Mobile, and our main product, which is relevant to fintech space, to fintech industry, is DocuSign. So for Kdan, we are founded in 2009. We currently have 250 employees with headquarters in Taiwan and offices in China and in the United States. We are the SaaS provider, and we, as you can see on the right below side, these are all the product line that we have. We have the portfolio of productivity and creativity suite. So to really empower the business to enhance their productivity, to unleash their creativity. Other than that, we also have DocuSign, our e-signature solution, and Kdan Cloud, our cloud solution. So, and with our latest news that from last mid-year, we got our Series B, basically backed up by South Korea company called Datus, and with other investor coming from Japan, US, and Taiwan. And this is about Kdan, and we are talking a little bit about DocuSign. For DocuSign, as you can relate from the name itself, it's e-signature solution. So I will quickly give you a walkthrough on the video. It's a 20 seconds. So let me quickly see if it works.
赶时间怎么签？点点签。
Okay, sorry for the Mandarin version, but I think you can get the gist of it. It's basically telling you that before COVID, or basically we were more on paper-based management, and now switching to a cloud-based management with DocuSign helping you. You can see it's going to be streamlining, smooth contract, not signing or like the document management by itself. So DocuSign with its product, actually it's launched 3 years ago. We have already right now 500,000 users, 1,500 business serving them, and we have users coming from over 5 continents. We have mainly in Asia and US, and European is now what I'm coming in to focus on. And of course with South America and Africa, we also have customer from there. So with DocuSign, it's very easy to understand with 3 keywords: assign, sign, and complete. So with this workflow coming into your business, you can spend your time more on the value-added task or your core competitive advantages, and not. And with this part, we can help you and we can support you for your value with your stakeholders, namely employee, customers, or vendors. And how do we help support fintech industry? So of course we are a cloud-based. We support remote signing. It can become paperless, contactless, especially now during COVID. We also support video signing. It's very ease of use. On G2, you can see easily our rating on UX and UI is ranked pretty high. And the other second part we support also is digital audit trail. You can see who, when, what, IP address, all this kind of information once the document is completed. And the most and key foundation of the whole thing is definitely security encryption. We have already heard a lot of security encryption and security part that in the previous session, right? And how do we support that? So we are actually certified by Adobe AATL. So meaning any document which is got signed during our DocuSign process, you will get a certified saying that this document is intact. So user can easily see that, okay, it's certified by Adobe. Once it's really breached or being changed, it will show really clearly that it's being altered or being modified. The user should be careful about that. So this is one of our key strengths to support fintech customer. And of course, we also have encryption via blockchain to help for unchangeable non-repudiation. And lastly, I think with all these features that we are supporting, the most important thing is that we are easily integrated. We support API, we support SDK, we also support the basic function SaaS, so it's just paid by subscription. And of course, we can get integrated to G Suite, Gmail, and we also have Zapier at the moment. So some use cases that our current fintech customer are using us is account opening, product purchase like insurance. They're buying insurance or loan or identity verification when they do transaction. And one of the best practice that we have so far is that they use identity authentication. So Face ID we support. And they do video signing. And then the lastly is what I have just already explained with the digital trial, AATL, all this kind of thing, and they can store on premise. So with all this technology that we have, we definitely can support any of the fintech company or any fintech startup to facilitate them with their customer, employee, and stakeholders. So with DocuSign, we can simplify your business process. That's all for my presentation.
Thank you once again, JC from Kdan Mobile Software. And with that, let's move on to the next startup, ThinkCloud Technologies. And so for this session, I'd like to welcome Technical Marketing Engineer, Ms. Aishwarya Goda for an introduction.
Thank you. So I'm from
Yes.
ThinkCloud Technologies. So our product is called Selfie Sign. It's a global e-signature revolution. So I'm here to introduce about this particular product, and I'm Aishwarya. You can call me Aish. So basically what ThinkCloud Technologies offers. So basically an e-signature is something that records any signing process in order to have a proper cloud-based tool. So whenever we talk about an e-signature, there is a lot of questions around it, whether it's safe, whether it is easy to manage, who are the people who is able to be analyzed through the process of viewing. So all of this is being legally binding in order to have a court admissible evidence by video recording every signing process. Hence, this is exactly what ThinkCloud Technologies are offering through the product Selfie Sign. So currently we face a lot of forgery or counterfeit signatures which is unable to be verified for the true identity of a person. And also the physical storage space is going high and high as we are wasting a lot of securable and risk-lacking searchability of documents in a physical storage space. And also these papers are also environmental impacting once most of all of these materials are ending up in landfills. So solving all of this, we have Selfie Sign technology. Now let's go through the benefits in order to understand the exact technology behind Selfie Sign. So what we do is exactly the digital signature plus the video recording plus the audit trail. So basically whenever a person sends a document to be signed from any of the other person, it records the person's identity using the location and the time of sign with its selfie cam. So a video layer is embedded upon the signature layer. So both of this combines together into one particular document and then it's good to go. So it's very simple. Just open your tablet and click on the signature portal and you're good to go. So how exactly can we block into the financial product? So whenever the client is overseas or any cross-border, the financial process happens online. So there are several difficulties when it is cross-border remittance also. So this is one of the best place where encrypted data and the customer data is very convenient for outline and the outdoor process. So any financial process at the counter desk is encrypted, and then the Selfie Sign server is conveniently manufacturing all the data into one particular SaaS environment. And this internal process is processed through the PDF document, and the signature embedded file is sent to the person to get the signature validated. So this digital journey is to be secure, smooth, and have an e-sign with a video authorization. So this is exactly how the process of this financial product looks like. So the novel remittance identity for this registration and authentication is made into 4 different steps. Number 1 is identity proofing. So in the enrollment phase, we are making sure of how the identity of a person is being enrolled, so that this is used for the proofing case. And then comes the Selfie Sign signature biodynamic signature. So in this case, you can use e-stamp or e-authorization, through which the authorization can be done for signature or stamp. So the credential creation is being created at this particular phase. And then the FIDO registration is being done. So through this, we can help in the binding and the insurance phase, where combination of the data for the FIDO is being done. And then the FIDO and e-stamp verification is being enrolled, and then entity authentication with the credential activation phase is being completed. So what are the major benefits out of this? We all know that technologies is positive and lasting impact on businesses and the workspace. So this is enabling us with 6 different winning benefits out of this e-signature phase. Number 1 is faster operations. So no matter how long the person's client is or how long the division of business client varies, the faster operation helps in faster and improved businesses. So this is one of the major winning benefits, which has accuracy and easier maintenance. So with the Selfie Sign dashboard, it's easy to access the documents, and the accuracy of the signing process with validation is maintained very well. The competitive edge, as we all know, it's a time where blockchain and AI is coming into the picture to increase the technology capability into it. So hence this can also enroll into many such organizations in order to help them achieve their goals. So this authorized e-signature video validation is one of the achieving benefits, and it's easy for cross-global remittance, and it reduces environmental impact. So as I was talking about the e-signature document, the document can witness a people who is the witness and the signer with the time, place, device, photo, video, voice print, and the signature. So all combined together will have that particular document being verified into the process of signing and audio recorded. So these are our partners. We have a variety of partners from finance, medical, and other varied industries. So each one of them vary from banks, insurance companies, and real estates, etc. So we are having 23 patents all across different places, and we have been awarded into different categories. We have certified with eIDAS and the security certification TA2419YC. So this is how we are bonded with the securities and the certification for our sake of signing and video authentication process. So this is about us. I'm open for questions if anyone has.
Thank you very much, Aish. In the interest of time, I think we'll move on to the last but not least team from Taiwan. And so let us welcome Mr. Lam Van Young, who is Head of Business Development and Marketing at ESG Matters.
This is Lavine from ESG Matters. Thank you, FinTechSpace, for offering this opportunity for me to introduce our company to all the guests. So we specialize in analyzing the ESG data and also providing intelligent sensing technologies and advisory services. And we also see that there are so many difficulties for the corporation to start integrating ESG into their business, so that we create different ESG tools, which I would be introducing later on. So here is our founder, Dr. Glenn Farmer. So he has been introducing different ESG knowledge to the corporation. So he was the head of sustainability for MTR corporations in Hong Kong for over 30 years. And he is also different international frameworks committees, such as AA1000 and also GRI. So he is now focusing in the European business, and we are focusing in the Asia market. So we also have been interviewed by different media to talk about how we help the corporations in the Asia, and also we also held different events to introduce the ESG knowledge to the market. So the listed companies is our major clients, but other than that, pension funds, private equities, startups, or even NGO are also our main clients. We help them to start initiating different ESG strategies and also help them to do the ESG report. So ESG is a very hot topic right now. So for today, I'm not going to, go through one by one what is ESG, but I'm sure you guys already know that it is environmental, social, and governance. So it all leads to one thing, that is sustainability. So why the corporation need to do ESG right now? Mainly there are 4 reasons. So there are about compliance, risk management, competitive advantage strategies, and also business efficiency and improvement. And we can see that in Taiwan, the listed companies have to fulfill their CSR report, or we call it ESG report. And also in Hong Kong, the listed companies and also need to fulfill the requirement to finish the ESG report. But what we see right now is that most listed companies, they don't know how to do that, or they don't have enough resources. They even, ask the admin staff to collect the ESG data. So we can see that there are so many difficulties for the companies to start collecting their ESG data. And even though like they have the equations, know how to calculate it, but it is somehow increasing the burden for them to, prepare the ESG report. So that is the reason why we help them to create a data management tool that is called ESG dashboard. So we streamline the collection of relevant data and information from the issuer's business operations, and it can help them, fulfill the requirement from the authorities. And you can see that at the right hand side, that is the demonstration of how our platform looks like. So we have all the reporting requirements from the authorities, and it even like align the international framework like GRI. So it helps the working level to prepare the ESG report easily, and it also helps the management level to monitor what is the ESG performance right now for the corporations. So you can see that there would be so many graphics and charts for the users to learn what is the ESG performances right now and how they can improve it to compare yearly or monthly. And so it also have multiple languages. So even there are so many subsidiaries among the Asian markets, the users can also easily access the platform and use it. So we also have one-stop solutions. So from providing the system to help them do the reporting, or find the third party to do the verification, and also the last stage for the printing stage, we also help them. So here's one example that we help the Hong Kong Chinese YMCA to do their first ESG impact report. So you can see that it doesn't have to be very boring, but it can be very colorful, and then to be transparently share the ESG data to the investors or other stakeholders. And other than that, so ESG report may be somehow like just for listed companies or some larger scale companies. We also even help like the SMEs or the scale ups to do an ESG health check. So if they can provide us the environmental or social relevant data, then we can help them to evaluate what is their ESG performances right now, and then how they can improve it. So it's kind of like a health check. So we also cooperate with different financial institutions. So like right now in Hong Kong, we cooperate with the bank and also insurance to help them evaluate their ESG performances of their clients. Other than that, we actually also have different IoT. So if the companies want to, not just manually collect their ESG data, we also provide different sensors or devices to help them. Of course, talking about sustainability, there are so many topics such as like decarbonization or waste management. So we also provide different services. So I'm not going to go through one by one today. Last but not least, so ESG is relatively a very new concept to the market. So we also have an education arm called Matters Academy. So we are trying to, promote and also educate the market with different webinars and also trainings. So there are so many free courses at the platform. So please feel free to check it out and also scan the QR code. This is our certificate ESG foundation course. So if you go through it, you would learn what is ESG in 4 hours. So there are so many languages we provide. So here are like the learners that we have right now. And there are so many corporations already attended the course. So we really hope that sustainability would be a sustainable city can be applied in different regions, and that can be not just a hot topic, but would be a sustainable topics for everyone. So this is the end of my presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you once again to Ms. Young from ESG Matters. So we propose that because of technical issues, we move on to experience sharing from Czech FinTech teams. Ota Schlimak from Threatmark. Are you already with us?
I'm here. Hello.
Okay. Hi, Ota. Are you ready to go?
I am actually.
Okay,
nice to
great.
Meet you. Can I just launch my slides?
Yes.
And how much time do I have, please?
We have about 7 to 8 minutes for each company.
7 to 8.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll be very brief. Our company, which is called Threatmark, it's a Czech company, and it's all about fighting fraud in the online or digital world. And we focus mostly on the banking industry as well as the fintech industry. And today I will just focus on a couple of things that we feel really strong at, which is prevention of social engineering scams, which is quite a topic, these days. So I'll tell you something more about also profiling users with some advanced behavioral biometrics, because that's the trendy thing now, and I think it might be interesting for all of us here to discuss just a little bit. So I'll start with some statistics that we were able to capture from some research organization. And now the total fraud losses in the digital world are $56 billion, while identity fraud losses are around $43 billion a year, and the number grows obviously. But what COVID has accelerated actually is are the scams and actually identity theft related fraud. So as you can see, also the market for fraud detection and prevention grows every year. And as you can see, the estimated growth on the right bottom corner is quite huge. So this is the space where we are at. And I'm just adding 2 more statistics. 85% of the breaches actually involved a human element, because the technology progressed so much and so well that basically the fraudsters need the client in many cases to steal his money, so they need to be in touch with the person. And also 61% of breaches involved somehow stolen credentials that, you're all familiar with phishing attacks and all that stuff that usually leads to fraudster obtaining the user account credentials. So let me tell you something a little bit more about the history of fraud prevention solutions, where we are at. So originally the fraud prevention solutions were built and based mostly on the transaction monitoring. So seeing payments and analyzing payments and payment behavior and building static rules and some maybe machine learning then based just on the payments in information was the base of these solutions and foundations of these solutions that you might know from big companies like SAS, FICO, NiceOptimize, and so on. So analyzing only transactions could have worked back in the days, and then obviously as the fraud progressed and developed, some more solutions were developed to, for example, recognize the device ID or to detect some financial related threats on the device and so on. So we can, look at endpoint protection, device fingerprinting, and all that stuff. And why is it inadequate, as well as just a separated transaction monitoring, is that it's quite useless against the most modern scams. I mentioned phishing or voice phishing and similar. So the scam scenario, when someone calls you and tells you, hey, I'm the bank, and your money is in danger and you should transfer it somewhere else, otherwise someone will steal it. And people really actually do it, and they are somehow convinced by the fraudster that they should install some remote access tool, and then they steal their money. These, let's say, old-fashioned solutions are not able to cover that. So here comes Threatmark with our behavioral intelligence platform, and it's game-changing because we cover the entire customer journey, not only transaction, not only device, but the entire user's digital banking journey from up or from the arrival point up until transaction. So we see what happens on the login, we see what happens during the navigation, and what happens at the point of transaction. And all the time we are able to provide the risk score to the bank so they can decide what should happen with the transaction or trigger a second factor authentication step. So once again, let's have a look on the entire online user journey in the digital banking. So we have the legacy systems, we see just the transaction. So someone sent an unusual amount of money to some maybe suspicious account, and that's all I see. So I need to do a lot of investigation, maybe contact the client to see what happened. But if we have some extra layers and data enrichment from ThreatMark, actually, I can see that there's a suspicious account activity. Oh, wow. And oh, well, the navigation was weird and the entire behavioral profile doesn't match the exact user. And there were probably some problems on the login or login step. The same with the mobile app. So someone's accessing from the Tor browser, or someone's accessing from a new device, or someone accessing suddenly from, not from Taiwan, for example, but suddenly from Hong Kong or whatever location in a very short time. And also there are some earlier steps. And what we also do is that we also provide the banking world with early warning threat detection, which is basically a team of professionals that's hunting for phishing campaigns and other malware and other campaigns that are basically targeted to steal the users or the client's money. So we have a team of professionals, and they have a set of tools that that can even warn bank that there is some scam or phishing campaign in the phase of preparation. So just very briefly about the company, we were founded in 2015 in Czech Republic. Now we're having headquarters in the USA, in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is the capital of banking world in the US, even more important than New York. And major banking institutions have their headquarters there. So we are now led by the United States CEO and head of sales in London. And also we have representation in Singapore for the APAC region. We score billions of logins and account activities yearly, and we covering more than 40 million users in the world. The company is now 80+ employees, but we are going to grow up until I think 130 people even this year, while we just hired 30 people just in 2022 since January. We're a Gartner recognized solution, and you can find us in some more reports. But what's more important, that we are trusted by leading financial institutions as we are growing from the Central Europe. We have, for example, Erste Group, which is our biggest client when it comes to one company covering 8 countries and 8 million users. PostFinance is a Swiss bank. Akbank is one of the biggest banks in Turkey, also 8 million clients. And we have some more clients. You can also find some customer testimonials and references on our website. This is what I would say. The main benefits: we detect social engineering based attacks. We improve the existing bank systems and fraud prevention systems, their detection rate, visibility, and risk scoring. Okay. We massively reduce false positives and friction, and we bring the value very fast, which is quite unique because other solutions take long months and years to implement. So basically here I'm just summarizing what we do on the last slide, how we can help and what fraud scenarios we do cover, and also some of the parts of the solution are designed not only for banking and fintech companies, payment gateways, and this type of companies, but we also work, for example, for companies in the gaming industry because they need to protect their clients and their payments or transactions as well. So how much time do I get, or did I consume all of that?
I think we have maybe 1 or 2 more minutes.
1 or 2 more minutes. So I will tell you just one main use case how a bank uses ThreatMark. So basically they implement ThreatMark AFS for their online and online digital banking channel and also mobile channel. And basically they are consuming our risk score, whether there's anything suspicious we send them, hey, like this person is acting weird, or so it's probably a fraudster who stole the credentials. And what they do is they raise a step-up authentication, for example. So they say send a one-time password to a client, and that's one of the cases. While it happens in maybe just 5 to up to 10% of the cases when something is suspicious or weird. So 90% of those clients are basically authenticated in the background by our solution and our behavioral profiling and behavioral biometrics. So which creates like a frictionless user experience. I can go to my bank. I don't need to receive any SMS or one-time password, and I can just go whatever I want until I'm a fraudster and trying to steal some money. Then there gets the friction for the fraudster and protection for the bank. And mid-sized bank, 1 million clients can save up until $1 million a year on the SMS costs, for example. So that's just one of the use cases. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much once again, Ota from Threatmark. Thank you very much for the presentation. And moving on, I'm wondering if Mr. Tomashi Fila from Finbrix is already online with us.
Yeah, I'm here. Please.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
So yes, I can hear you. So
okay,
the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So I will share a presentation. Please let me know when you see it.
Sure. Yes, we see it.
Yeah. And the question is whether it's full screen?
Yes. Full screen.
Sorry?
Please continue. Yes, full screen. Please continue.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear you. So
we don't see your slides right now. Can you share again?
So I had a problem with the sound because so can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can see the presentation. Can you make it full screen?
Yeah, I will go full screen.
Great.
Okay, great. So sorry for problems at the beginning. So my name is Tom Fila. Thank you very much for I can be here today, and I will briefly introduce you Finbrix and its services. Well, Finbrix is an internal startup of Komerční banka, which is one of the most important banks on Czech market. And we are providing open banking aggregation platform for accounts and payments and other financial services. But open banking in European Union, we can rather say regulatory open banking, was in EU established by a regulation Payment Service Directive 2. PSD2 brought, among others, 2 brand new services, account information service, enabling to download transaction history and other information from bank account, and a payment initiation service enabling to initiate a payment from a bank account. And to provide these services, banks mostly use API technology to enable secure and efficient communication with service providers. And in the context of PSD2, a number of new business models emerge on the market, both in the area of end user services and technology. And Finbrix is a technology company where our mission is to provide our clients with unified connectivity to individual banks so that they don't have to deal with API differences, but can fully focus on their core business. Because it turned out that it's not entirely easy to maintain connection to individual banks, as banks have implemented their APIs very differently. Well, there are different authentication mechanisms, there are different ways of processing payments, information from accounts has a different structure, data is processed in different formats, there is plenty of APIs outages which needs to be managed. Banks are changing API regularly and connections that needs to be modified. So there's a lot of problems, and we solve all these problems for our clients, providing them one single unified connection, what was the original intention of PSD2. Our clients are from various areas. The most important are payment gateways, where we were able to attract all 4 major payment gateways on Czech market. Then it's banks and generally all solutions where it's needed to work with payments and accounts, like investment platforms, accounting solutions, consumer financing platforms, and others. Like I said, our products are mainly focused on accounts and payments, but we are enriching our solution by other products. For example, recently we have added Bank ID service, which is identity provision service established recently in Czech Republic by all major Czech banks. It's really successful. So we are combining payment and account products with other products which can be mixed then by our partners to provide their clients with the business solutions. And now let's look at the practice. Our services are applicable anywhere that deals with payments or account information. Among banks, multi-banking is very popular, where one bank's online banking system displays accounts that user has with other banks. Very popular is also automatic downloading of transaction history to assess the credit of a client when applying for a consumer loan. And that's enough for tourists. And now I will show you 3 more use cases on a practical examples. The first one is a payment and application, where you can use payment initiation service as an alternative to classic payment methods such as payment cards. Then you can use payments even in solution where the use of credit cards is not appropriate. It can be because of type of business like gambling and similar, or a high cost. And currently we are implementing this type of solution in Czech Republic with some major players on the Czech market. Here example of a payment gateway. It's a real example of how our services are used by the GoPay payment gateway. GoPay is the largest Czech e-commerce payment gateway and the first payment gateway in Czech Republic to use PSD2 payment in production. We provide them with a backend connection to APIs of Czech and Slovak banks. The process is really simple. After selection of bank transfer, the user selects a bank from which he wants to make a payment. Then we are using account information service to download a list of accounts which is user holding in a specific bank. After selection of account, the user or we are initiating a payment using payment initiation service, and user is authorizing the payment in a bank like he's used to within the internet banking, and then the payment is confirmed. The GoPay is saving a lot of costs. Speaking about alternatives to credit cards or e-commerce payment buttons of banks. Here's another example. This is Patrongo, one of the most promising fintech on Czech market. They are making analysis of spendings of their users when you download your transaction history from your bank. They are then making some analysis, and again we are providing them our backend services to connect their users to their banks to select account for analysis. So yeah, and that's it for me. So thank you very much for attention and opportunity to present you FinBricks. And if you are interested in information, feel free to contact me on email or by phone. And if you check our website, it's coming to English very soon. So thank you very much.
Thank you once again to Tomashi from FinBricks for that introduction. Due to technical issues, there are 2 startups that are not able to join us today. So we will come to the final team, Resistant AI. So I'd like to give the floor to Jerzy Svidromoshi, Head of Business Development for CEE and also APEC.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Let me share the slides right now. And I think it should be good, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Very good. So thank you. So today, basically, I will be presenting a topic that we called identity and document forensics. And what we mean by that is that we apply AI machine learning to prevent financial fraud and increasing automation in financial services. And I will be delving into this topic shortly. So just to present ourselves as a Resistant AI as a company, a couple of background information. We've been together and as a company for 3 years now, but the core team has over 16 years of experience in AI machine learning, fighting cybercrime and fighting financial crime. We've got 9 PhDs in AI with over hundreds of patents, and as a company, we are backed by Index Ventures, Google Ventures, and Credo Ventures, among others. And on the right-hand side, as I said, working with financial industry and financial services. This is a little snapshot of our customers. Just a couple of examples so you have a better idea what we cover. Twisto is buy now, pay later, Payoneer payments, Moneta is banking, KBC insurance and banking, and there are examples of our partners like PwC. So first of all, I would like to start with explaining the problem that we are solving using AI and machine learning. Obviously, financial industry and services have gone digital. So whether that is banking, insurance, lending, customers need to be onboarded primarily digitally and remotely. And the problem, obviously, that banks, financial services, all of these I described are facing is that remotely these customers can very easily modify the means that they are proving their identity. So whether that would be providing digital documents like ID or bank statement, pay slips, or basically creating their profile on a banking service. They can provide false information, they can forge documents, and this is where our technology comes into play. And this is where we can protect the financial services and making sure that it's more efficient and secure. And so to be more precise, I will show you the different types of layers that we basically cover with our technology. And on the left-hand side, we start with document forgery detection. So this is where a single document comes into play, where whether that would be ID, bank statement, again, payslips, any type of digital document, whether that would be in PDF, image, or scan. We, on this one single document, we apply over 500 ways of detecting whether this document was modified. And that's done by over 130 AI and machine learning detectors and modules. So in this way, we are able to prove whether a single document has been modified or whether it is absolutely fine and can be processed and used as a way to identify and verify your customer. A second layer that is going on top of this is serial forgery detection. And we were able to basically compare all the documents that our customers like banks and lenders process. And we are able to compare all of these documents across the portfolio of all the documents. And in that way, we are able to spot similarities and identify those documents that are the same, only modified slightly in a different way. So that means that one customer can provide a couple of documents which are based on one picture, but with different types of modification. And I will show an example in a minute. If we go on top of that, we do serial onboarding detection. And in this way, we do not only control and check the documents, but we also look at the behavior of the customers and their devices during the document submission. So when they upload the documents to the lender, to the bank, we say, look, this customer actually is claiming to be 5 different types of people or 5 different identities in 5 different loans, but they are all logging from a same device, same behavior, so we are able to spot that. And that's primarily because of identity clustering, which is on the other layer, where we are able to tie seemingly different identities who claim to be someone else, but based on analyzing the behaviors on many different layers. Thanks to the AI machine learning, we are able to modify and, well, let's say model the behaviors and spot the anomalies in that behavior, and thanks to that, prove that it is something fraudulent. And transaction monitoring is something that, again, it's similar type of behavior, that we we analyze these transactions, compare them amongst each other, and that way we are able to again spot the anomalies in transactional behavior. So let me tell you a bit more, and in a bit more concrete way, what we do in terms of digital documents. So I mentioned on a single document, which is our most wide use case, is the out-of-the-box forgery detection. That means that whenever we see a document, even though we haven't seen this document yet, we still apply over those 500 parameters with 130 detectors, and we not only provide a verdict when we say either yes, this document is perfectly legit, or no, this document is fraudulent, we also then provide evidence for that. So this is our user interface, where you can click and very easily just see what are the modifications in that document, and confirm that this is in fact not a false positive. This is a finding that indicates fraud. This is an example of the serial forgery attempt, where, as I explained, the way to scale the fraud for a fraudster in the digital space is to have a picture of an ID or any type of other document. And in order to scale the attack and make it efficient, the thing they do is that they use the modification, but scale it in a way where they just keep changing the name, keep changing the significant details which are important for the bank or for the lender. And that way they can provide dozens or hundreds of forged documents very quickly. And this is a way where we catch them based on analyzing all the documents and looking for similarities. This is an example of the fraudulent submission, where even though, as on the right side you can see an example, two IDs which look completely different. What you can spot is the same background in that picture, but then this by itself would not be significant evidence. But what we did here again is that we analyzed the submission. We analyzed the device that was used by this customer who was uploading these documents for the lender, for the bank, for the insurance company. And we identified similarities which were a clear sign that this is coming from a single customer. And this way we are again able to tie the identities together and identify a group of fraudsters or a single fraudster that is committing several attempts from that one identity. This is something that we call authenticity as a service. Again, because I said we also create models of documents, the way that we work is not only detect what's wrong with the document based on these detectors. We also make models of authentic ways a document is produced. And this way, in several types of documents, mainly PDF bank statements, we are able to completely automate a process of those documents that we find to be authentic. So that means that the teams don't need to spend time on those documents at all, and they can be part of a fully automated process. And one last thing I will mention in terms of documents and in terms of what we do is quality checks, where except or apart from detecting fraud, detecting manipulation, obviously sometimes a document, a picture or a scan is provided in not a sufficient quality. There can be flash reflections, they can be blurriness or low resolution. And what it often unfortunately does, it is able to hide fraud. And this is a common fraud tactic where after modifying a document digitally via Photoshop, all the different tools that the fraudsters nowadays have at their disposal, they then reduce the quality of the picture to hide these things beyond being able to be detected. And that's why we have a quality check pipeline as well, where we can within 2 seconds send back a resolution saying this document unfortunately is not in the good enough quality. Mr. Customer, please provide a different document that is suitable. So I hope I didn't run too long. This is just a very brief overview of what we do. Again, it's mostly we start with documents, any digital documents, and we go from there to behaviors. And we are deployed by very simple API. So that's how we operate. We protect financial services from these types of fraud, and we help automation. And so this has been Resistant AI. Thank you for your time, and we'll be happy to have a chat with anyone interested.
Thank you. Thank you, Iggy, once again from Resistant AI. Ladies and gentlemen, so we have come towards the end of the webinar today. We have about 5 more minutes for any questions. So if you'd like to ask questions, direct questions towards the FinTech teams, please do make use of the chat box at the bottom right-hand corner. And in the meantime, actually, Yiri from Resistant AI, we did receive a question for you. So I'll read out the question from my end.
Yes, thank you.
So the question is, financial institutions often regard FinTech companies as competitors. FinTech companies often encounter difficulties when trying to cooperate with existing financial players. Therefore, I'd like to ask Yiri of Resistant AI, whether the digital identification system currently developed by your company is applied to financial institutions. How do you overcome related difficulties?
Well, yes, obviously, as we are a global company, which I'm not sure I mentioned properly, but we do work with a variety of customers. It ranges from small fintechs to large traditional institutions. And obviously, the relationships and the way that we work together is slightly different. We always make sure that we are 100% compliant with all the rules, which in terms of big institutions is always a bit more trickier. And it requires a much longer process of being verified, being approved, providing all the necessary security information. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, yes, we basically work with FinTech, but also with the traditional institutions. And with the traditional institutions, it usually takes a longer and more detailed and more, it takes more work to start working together. But because we are a very simply deployed solution via API, and we adhere to all the compliance and we adhere to all the security measures, we usually are very simply able to provide all the security details and clearances necessary. And once we go through all the security questions, all the security concerns, we are able to work even with traditional and big institutions.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Yiri, for responding to that. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come towards the end of our time for the seminar today. And if you have any further questions that you'd like to raise towards the FinTech teams from either Taiwan or the Czech Republic, or if you have any questions for any of the speakers today, please do make use of the chat box in the bottom right-hand corner. We will relay your questions to the speakers today. And with that, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. We expect, or we hope to see more collaboration between Taiwan and the Czech Republic going forward. So thank you very much. And I'd like to wish you a very good rest of the day. So thank you. Thank you very much.